Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 36. Now, this is the latest 2025 Treehouse of Horror episode. I actually watched this over the air when it aired on TV, which I haven't done for a Simpsons episode in maybe since the 2000s. Like, definitely making sure I'm there for a premiere, I think. Others I've watched on like Fox.com or whatever. Like I've seen newer episodes, but I've never done it like this. I actually was like, hey, the whole family, we can all watch the new Treehouse of Horror together, and nobody liked it. I was nicer about it, but nobody actually liked it at all. So kind of a failure there. But it was a little more horror centric. It was maybe what you'd actually want from what a Treehouse Horror episode is supposed to give you. I still don't think it was very good, and it seemed to sort of miss the mark in terms of like its references and what it was saying with this horror stuff. And I kind of wish could have been a lot of better paths to do had they picked the horror movies and like the reasons they're doing them a little better. But instead we got, I guess this, it started with a kind of I guess it's sort of a couch gag or just an opening to the Treehouse of Horror with Stan Kelly, who's the illustrator of The Onion. I didn't know this guy's name, but I've seen his work before. I wasn't super into this intro. It's cool that an illustrator got sort of an animated intro on The Simpsons. I like that element to it, but Matt Groening's kind of thing, it wasn't particularly funny, and I'm not that big a fan of those drawings, so it was a little different. It wasn't very like spooky. It just sort of came off in a weird way, but I get like Matt Groening's from alternative comics and stuff like that, so it's like part of it was like, oh cool, you're like going back to that, but I, as for Halloween, wasn't so into that, to be totally honest with you. This whole episode is directed by Matthew Foghan, I think, but that was by Scott Kelly, and also the intro had Matt Groening himself is a guest on this, although pretty sure he's been a guest on The Simpsons before. The next one, the first real segment, The Last Days of Crisco. This was written by Brati Gupta. It is sort of a takeoff of Jaws and The Blob and Smokey and the Bandit, sort of, I guess. It's in the 70s for no real reason. They find that there's there's buildup of grease and grime in the sewer system. An evil monster has been created, first killing Chief Wiggum, and then Lou is put in charge after Chief Wiggum is killed by this kind of monster thing, and then it just sort of becomes a free-for-all with this grease and stuff. A main thing with this episode is sort of a judgmental quality towards like food and fatty foods and stuff, which comes up in this segment and a later segment. I really didn't, one, it wasn't funny, and two, it wasn't, I guess people shouldn't eat that stuff all the time, but like it felt a little sanctimonious at certain points. Like when they brought it up in the second one, I was like, okay, I get it. You don't like junk food. I don't know if I need my Harvard-educated Rich Simpsons writers telling me healthier foods to eat or whatever. It just didn't. I don't know. It didn't really come off very well. This had the one joke I liked where Lou is at the fair and they do the Jaws dolly zoom thing. And go, a dolly zoom. That's not good. And I was like, oh, has anyone done that? I thought that was funny. The rest of it is just like, it's really gory. This is a fairly gory Treehouse of Horror this time. It's a little much in terms of the grease and the gore and stuff like that. And it just was like kind of dumb. The whole thing with Bart and Homer and their kind of Smoking the Bandit father-son thing just didn't, him hitting him with the hat, I didn't really like. And it seems like one of those weird, like kind of later Simpsons jokes where like, hey, we're bringing it up a lot. And I'm like, look, this is no Spider Pig. And even when Spider Pig did it, I wasn't super into that either. So this just, I didn't really get the whole hat thing. I like the dolly zoom part. That made me laugh. I like the part where Lou's wife keeps saying like, come hang out at the fair. Like that was kind of funny, but it overall like didn't really work as well as I kind of had. I don't know. It's like you have the Blob and Jaws. You can do more than that. What does it say actually about eating stuff? Instead, it's like, oh, it's your fault. We're going to, both this and the Plastic World one later is like, our own, stupid, gluttonous bullshit will, destroy us all. And I'm like, okay, show that's been running for 37 years. I don't know if you really should be talking about this, not because you're a show, but like, speaking of gluttony, I'd like to see some of y'all's bank accounts, because I have a feeling You don't have much to stand on there. All right, the next one is Clown Night with the Devil. This was written by Michael Price. It was a take on Late Night with the Devil. This is the weirdest one to me in terms of references, because what inspired them to do, let's do a version of Late Night with the Devil. They don't bring up the AI controversy at all, because I thought that's like what I remember about that. I never saw it. I heard it was decent, but like such a weird modern reference. Like, I don't know. In my mind, they did an I Saw the TV Glow parody and with Milhouse and Lisa, and that's what I would have done. But they did another movie for some reason. Like, it's not like, I don't know, it was weird. Like, you're not going to do A24 horror. I don't think they have yet. They're going to do this, but you're going to do Late Night with the Devil. It just felt very random. But that's what they did. They did Late Night with the Devil. Instead, it's like Krusty's doing this big special. He has all these, and it takes place in the 90s, whereas Late Night with the Devil is in the 70s, which was that just like demographically, you knew people were going to like that? And Kang and Kodos only get their one shout out during this, which I didn't realize. I saw in a different thing that Sherry and Terry are wearing Kang and Kodos masks. It usually starts to, cut to them and they're laughing or something. But anyway, things are going wrong. The devil's coming up and kind of like getting in people's bodies. First, it's like this monkey, which I think was not Nope, but I thought the 90s thing and a monkey's attacking, maybe this is Nope. Maybe it is. I don't think so. Then it goes into Ralph, and his manager is played by Michael Keaton. There's one of the groups played by Ike Barinholtz. I can never get his name right. And then Idris Elba plays the devil pretty well, actually. And I like the devil animation. This was just like, it's such a bizarre reference. Like I really don't understand why you'd want a Late Night with the Devil with Krusty the Clown. And like, it's very much aping that film style and stuff. But like, what was the point of doing this specifically? And if it's not funny and there's no point to it, and like, why switch it from the 70s to the 90s? It felt like it brought up more questions than actually made me laugh, which it didn't. I sort of like certain elements, and I did like Idris Elba. I didn't realize Michael Keaton was in this at all till later. It really felt like kind of very misconceived. Like, why would you pick this one? Why not pick one like Smile, or I don't know if they've done a Jordan Peele one or an A24 one, but you're gonna do Late Night with the Devil for some reason. Just felt very, I don't know, somebody was obsessed with this movie. And no AI controversy jokes. Come on. And then the last one is Plastic World. This is written by Dan Gurney. This is about, in a post-apocalyptic world, the world is covered in plastics. It's hard to find food, and we see these kind of scavengers trying to find food, with a nice voiceover by Viola Davis, which goes through everything, specifically like how they got that way, how dinosaurs became oil and oil became plastic dinosaurs, which was, the intro is maybe the best part. The rest of it's like they're in this plastic world and they're trying to find ground so they can make food and crops and stuff like that, and the struggles behind that. Supposedly people said this is based on Waterworld or Furiosa or Mad Max. I mean, Waterworld I always thought was a ripoff of Mad Max, but in water. But to me, it's just like this really strange one. They do actually dig and go into the Quickie Mart. It's the first, from what I've read and heard, it's the first real appearance of Apu in like a long time. Even though it's just a skeleton. There's certain elements of like, they have a different kind of animation when Homer and Marge are kind of melded with plastic and become these things, and they look like the plastic Simpsons figures I used to have as a kid. I like the animation mixing in it, and there's certain elements to it, but it wasn't very funny. The post-apocalyptic plastic thing just felt like you're complaining about overconsumption again. I don't know. A lot of these have the same problem where it's like, I don't understand what your point is, other than Treehouse of Horror needs a silly, spooky thing, but like, you're not even picking, either current things or interesting things or saying something with it. Like, these feel very hollow messages about society, like, hey, eat less junk food, the lard thing and stuff like that. It's just like the moral messages really rang flat. And this one is just like, it wasn't funny enough, and I wish they had done something about how the Marge and Homer look like they're from the action figure lines and stuff. And you really could have done something. But overall, I think the thing with Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 36 is we really don't know at all the horror landscape that Treehouse of Horror is in. It feels like sort of divorced from it. They're just like picking movies they feel like. And I do kind of like they can enact their own taste. But like last year, I think they did a really obscure horror thing and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe it didn't work, but you want to do something different. This has just felt like, someone's like, I don't know, what are the two horror movies I saw? Or, or they just have bad taste or something. I wish they'd done something more with this concept like the classic ones did. This one just felt like they didn't really understand why they took Late Night with the Devil and had it be crusty and have Bart play Urkel and stuff like that. It just was like, oh, well, people love the 90s and stuff. And you're like, I don't know if that's what people come to Treehouse of Horror for. I think they come to be scared and have fun, and kids can open their candy and get a little taste of horror. And I didn't really get that from any of these. No one was necessarily scared. It just sort of fell flat. And it's kind of, not as bad as modern Simpsons can get. And at least they did try to do horror stuff in that. I didn't particularly like this one. A lot of kind of missed opportunities to say something or be scary or something about horror, do a new take on horror, do a funny take on a horror thing. Other than the Dolly Zoom thing, it just was like, oh, lard and Late Night with the Devil and then plastic just felt very unfulfilling ultimately. It's a little more gorier. There are some funny parts. They did try. I just wish they tried to, make a horror thing or like find a new Twilight Zone episode you hadn't done or something. There's certain newer Simpsons I've reviewed, and I do feel like it's a lot more hit and miss in a positive sense when I watch newer ones. I don't watch all of the newer ones at all. I only watch a few. But this felt like the complaint where people go, oh, modern Simpsons isn't as good anymore. And it very much felt like that in this. It felt like something where it's like, yeah, modern Simpsons isn't as good anymore. Because if this is them trying, I don't know. It felt like them trying in weird ways that weren't ultimately that interesting from the opening to even Late Night with the Devil. Like, that's a weird sense of taste, but I wish they sort of understood, like, what you really want out of spooky season, what you want to watch, and what you want to talk about, and what you want to get into in terms of horror. This just felt like they cared about being judgmental about food, and then this one horror movie they watched, and you're like, okay, I don't know if that's really what I want Treehouse of Horror to be at this point, but unfortunately that is what we got. And I think Treehouse of Horror 36 doesn't really live up to the legacy of Treehouse of Horror, but it's nice that they sort of tried, I guess. So if you have seen The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 36 and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.